A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Glory to you, O Lord. At that time, Jesus exclaimed, I give praise to you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth. For although you have hidden these things from the wise and the learned, you have revealed them to little ones. Yes, Father, such has been your gracious will. All things have been handed over to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son wishes to reveal him. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke from me upon you, and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy, and my burden light. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. If you've ever had a bad hair day, and you let it ruin your entire day, this Gospel reading is for you. If you were ever called into the principal's office or your boss's office first thing on a Monday morning, and it ruined your entire week, this Gospel reading is for you. If you've ever stubbed a toe or chipped a nail or gotten a paper cut, and the pain was excruciating, and it ruined your entire day, this Gospel reading is for you. You know, it's very interesting in today's Gospel reading where Jesus, right off the bat, he begins to talk about the mysteries of the kingdom. These things. And he says that although you have hidden these things, the mysteries of the kingdom, from the wise and the learned, you have revealed them to little ones. Now, who can fall into the category of the wise and the learned? Now, naturally, back in Jesus' time, this was most likely the scribes, or the Pharisees, or the elders, the scholars of the law, people who were very educated, people who were very highly regarded people in Jesus' time. People that were very educated, people, prominent members of the Jewish community. That was most likely the people Jesus was referring to. But as we can in almost every Gospel reading, we can take what the intended audience and the intended recipient of these analogies in Jesus' time, and we can apply them still today. And obviously the wise and the learned still happens to be today people who are educated, which I would think is mostly all of us. No matter what level of education you have received, whether it be elementary school, middle school, high school, college, beyond college, whatever degree you've achieved, whatever level of education you have achieved so far, you are considered wise and learned. You have some knowledge. You have insight. You have intellect. You are smart. And Jesus is talking to all of us today, and whether we're teens, young adults, or adults, whatever age group we fall into, whatever level of education we've achieved, we all can fall into that category of the wise and the learned that Jesus is talking about in today's Gospel reading. But you know, then Jesus says, but although the wise and the learned are very smart and intelligent, and they have this education, they have this background, they have these gifts, these insights, they're still not able to fully comprehend and understand and grasp the meaning of the mysteries of the kingdom. And that is simply because he says they're revealed to little ones. These little ones, these children, with no education at all, or with very little education, or just starting their education, have a more practical understanding and knowledge and attainment of these mysteries of the kingdom than do the wise and the learned. And to me, that kind of seems ironic. It seems like that's not the case typically. But Jesus has a good point. You know, children are very innocent. So think about a child, whether you are a parent, you're a grandparent, you're a godparent, or you've been around children, which is pretty much all of us, you know that children are very innocent, very pure, very protected. And sometimes they'll say the silliest little thing. But it's because of that innocence. Because they don't know better. In a way, we typically give children that benefit of the doubt. And that is the mind of a child. That's the heart of a child. That's the lifestyle of a child, where a child just has to worry about what am I going to do today that's going to satisfy my time, that's going to keep me busy, and that's going to give me pleasure. That's the life of a child. That's the mindset of a child, where they don't have to worry about providing for the family. They don't have to worry about paying bills. Children don't have to worry about running around in 15 different places, or running errands, or dropping their family members off at different events. Children don't have to worry about pleasing their boss or their coworkers. They don't have to worry about making sure there's going to be food on the table. Children simply just have to worry about themselves. And again, what's going to give me pleasure? What am I going to do to occupy this time? Because children don't have much responsibility. Children don't have much to worry about. They're just simply laid back, very relaxed, very chill, and just going through life one step at a time without a care in the world. That's the lifestyle of a child. That's the mindset of a child. That's the heart of a child, of a little one, is to go through life without cares. To go through life innocently, purely, and protected and sheltered. Because again, what do adults, teenagers, young adults, what do we all have to worry about that children aren't exposed to? Violence, prejudice, racism, theft, greed, adultery, bigotry, hatred, bias, political agendas. All of these things consume our time, consume our thoughts, and overwhelm us, and give us unnecessary grief and anxiety. Whereas the children aren't exposed to all these things. They aren't exposed to war. They aren't exposed to famine. They aren't exposed to disease. Children aren't exposed to racism. They aren't exposed to hatred. They aren't exposed to profanity. Not like us, who are wise and learned, in the words of Jesus. It's very difficult to take on the mind of a child, the heart of a child, the lifestyle of a child, of a little one, and abandon and forsake all these distractions, all these unnecessary plagues of our society that consume us, that consume our time, and that give us anxiety, that give us grief, that worry us. But Jesus is telling us in today's gospel reading, in the midst of all these burdens, of all this oppression, of all this hardship, of all this worry, of all this grief, in the midst of all that the world has to offer, come to me, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. There it is. The last verse of today's gospel reading. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Jesus tells us, let go. Take on the heart of a child, the mind of a child, of a little one. And then we will be able to understand the mysteries of the kingdom. We'll be able to understand, to comprehend, and to fully grasp the goodness of life. Everything that Jesus has to offer, everything that the world has to offer that is good, we will be able to obtain if we take on the mind and the heart and the lifestyle of a little one, of a child, very innocent, very pure, very humble. Take his yoke. Let it go. All of us who are burdened and oppressed by making ends meet, by pleasing others, by paying our bills, and by trying to stay up to date with what's going on in the world. It's only cluttering our minds and our hearts and our lifestyles so that we don't have the capacity to understand and to comprehend the mysteries of the kingdom. We don't have the ability to take on the mind of a child, of a little one, because our mind and our heart is so cluttered up with racism, with envy, with hatred, with all the things that we hear about and we read about day in and day out. It's tough. But let us all, today, this week, throughout the rest of our lives, let us all try to take on the mind and the heart of a little one. Let's let go of all the burdens of life, of all the things that worry us and occupy us in our time. Let's lay them at the foot of the cross and allow Jesus, let's take his yoke upon us and allow Jesus to reveal to us the mysteries of the kingdom. To go back to my initial question, if you've had a bad hair day and you let it ruined your entire life, your entire day, if you had a bad hair day and it ruined your entire day, it's simply because you let it ruin your entire day. You were too worried and consumed about making yourself look good, how you looked, how you acted, how you presented yourself to others, when instead you could have been looking at it with the mind of a child. I'm just going to make it through this day. There's plenty more days to come. No one's going to remember this little instance. No one's going to remember this little slip-up. And frankly, no one notices. If you've ever been called into the principal's office or your boss's office first thing on a Monday morning and it ruined your entire week, it's because you let it ruin your entire week. Whereas to take on the mind of a child, of a little one, we would have been able to realize to just shake it off. It's okay. This week's going to get better. It's only 7, 8, 9 o'clock on a Monday. There's still 100+ hours left in this week. Let's make it a good week. Instead of letting this meeting, whether it be good or bad, weigh us down the entire week. You know, children are very smart. When they fall off their bike or when they fall down learning to walk, they just get right back up and brush themselves off. That's the mind of a child. That's the heart of a child. That's the lifestyle we need to live. Where if we've stubbed our toe, if we've gotten a paper cut, and if we've chipped a nail, and we thought the world was going to end, and the pain was excruciating, it's because we let it be. Whereas we could have taken on the mind of a child, and we should take on the mind of a child and of a little one, and just get right back up and brush ourselves off, and continue. It would heal. It's going to heal. It's going to feel better. The pain will go away. That's the mindset of a child. I'm bigger than all this. Children think they're on the top of the world. Because again, they're not exposed to all this oppression in the world. That's my brothers and sisters. Let's take on the mind of a child. Let's be like the little ones Jesus is talking about in today's gospel reading. And let's leave racism, hatred, bigotry, bias, self-pleasure, pleasing others. Let's leave it behind. And let's take on the mind of a child in the purest, most innocent, and most humble of ways.